Hi, everybody. This is part 3 of the Goode, David Wilcock, DivineCosmos.com mega update. And the heading starts with Ancient Builder Race. There are many interesting characters that have appeared in the Goode Cosmic Disclosure saga. At times, I will insert paragraphs to help explain the backstory as we go. One key point is worth addressing before we get started, however, is the notion of the ancient builder race as it relates to the Law of One. First of all, there are two different SSPs. The Navy interstellar program Corey was in, and the Air Force MIC program other insiders I know are aware of. And this is David Wilcock talking. The MIC military industrial complex program is predominantly centered in cloaked flying aircraft carriers like we saw in the Avengers. They have craft that cannot leave our solar system. As a whole, they were apparently designed for a partial disclosure scenario so that the Deep Navy interstellar SSP could still remain secret. If the MIC SSP members were questioned, even under torture, they would only reveal what they believed, which is that they were the best game in town. The MIC SSP people are well aware that our solar system is, in quotes, a cosmic junkyard of very ancient crystalline ruins, such as domes, obelisks, pyramids, and underground cities. The oldest of these ruins date back some 2.5 billion years. The people who built them are invariably referred to as the ancient builder race. Very little is known about these people simply because all written descriptions have been scratched off and their technologies are largely plundered. Excuse me. The next heading, Direct Connection with the Law of One. After Corey shared this with me, I eventually realized this was directly connected to material in Law of One. Specifically, the civilization calling itself Ra said it had originated on the planet Venus in our solar system. They explained that they built pyramids and obelisks and reached a profoundly high level of technology before their own ascension into fourth density. Furthermore, it is very clearly stated that they had evolved out of third density on Venus approximately 2.6 billion years ago as we measure time. I had never forgotten that after reading it in 1996. And then there's a picture here of the Klerksdorp, Klerksdorp stone spheres appear to be intelligently built and were found embedded in rock strata that is about 2.8 billion years old. So that's interesting. That picture is in the text. This may be one small archaeological clue to support the idea that this civilization had visited Earth during this same time frame. The data is much greater within the SSP. They have dated many different ancient ruins as being 1 of 2 billion years old, if not more so, with advanced methods. I didn't immediately figure out that Ra was the ancient builder race, but once I did, it answered many different questions raised by Corey's material. The exact timing of Oumuamua's entrance into our solar system does not appear to be an accident in light of what Corey witnessed in December of 2017. This cosmic saga you are about to read culminates with the MIC SSP discovering a surviving ancient ship from the ancient builder race and going inside. Again, this ship is being called Oumuamua by NASA. It may soon become the most significant tool for disclosure that we have ever seen. And without further ado, let's now dive directly into Corey's latest update. As I said before, at various points I will insert paragraphs of backstory in case you are new to this. All of what you are about to read is written by Corey and based on his alleged in-person experiences in December of 2017. Hardly anything has been modified except for small corrections in grammar and sentence structure. I don't know about you, but I always need that myself. Begin Corey Goode update. Corey Goode. I had been receiving a clear uptick in dream communications with Tier Air over the last 10 weeks. David Wilcock inserts. Tier Air is the key being from Ra that Corey has been working with since this all started. And that's the end of the Wilcock insert, I think. Most of the communications that I received were dealing with the preparations being made by various races for the arrival of the 2 new guardian races that were members of the Sphere Being Alliance. Yeah, that was Corey. And then David Wilcock says, the Sphere Being Alliance includes the spheres themselves as they are alive, as well as 5 different high-level ET groups, including the Blue Avians and the Golden Triangle beings. During this time frame, I have also had and this is Corey Goode, had a large number of briefings. This included a few meetings with Earth Alliance, SSP Alliance, and the Anshar. I also had a very strange and intense encounter with Gonzalez and the Mayans. And David Wilcock says, the Anshar are human-like beings living in huge cities under the Earth's surface. They are directly discussed multiple times in the Law of One series, but not with the same name. The Mayans are a group of humans from the Mayan civilization who made their way into space thanks to the ET contact they had at the time. Large-scale meetings. These briefings all led up to large-scale meetings between the Sphere Being Alliance, the Super Federation, and the Draco Federation. And David Wilcock inserts, the Super Federation is a group of at least 60 different ET races that have been tinkering with our genetics on Earth for thousands of years. We have much more to say about them as we go on. The Draco Federation is an alliance of evil reptilian ETs and other groups under their control. Most recently, I was brought to a meeting where the Inner Earth groups, this is Corey, the Inner Earth group, Sentinels, and the Sphere Being Alliance delegates from the local 52 stars in our stellar neighborhood were introduced to the new Guardians. David Wilcock. Sentinels appeared as guardians of ancient builder race ruins that Corey allegedly visited on the planet Venus in 2016 as an invited guest. And this is Corey again. Consequently, the Blue Avians and Golden Triangle beings left us with a message before saying goodbye to our density. Surrounded with boxes. I will start back in the time frame of mid-October of 2017. I was in the living room of the house we just moved out of in Plano, Texas. It was around 3:30 a.m. I was looking over art that we were thinking of using in the graphic novel we are working on, which interestingly enough is going to be titled Return of the Guardians. I was surrounded by boxes and plastic crates from all of the packing to move to Colorado. Without warning, I found myself transported by a flash of light to the Mayan ship, which was somewhere in the Earth's orbit. I found myself in one of the long corridors that I had seen on prior visits. I normally feel an incredibly blissed out, in quotes, energy while on the Mayan vessel. This time, the energy was very frantic. Engaged in battle. Gonzalez quickly grabbed me and started pulling me towards a double-wide door that led into a room. And David Wilcock says, as we said before, Gonzalez was also in contact with the sphere beings and was Corey's main affiliate within the SSP Alliance. And then back to Corey. Ever since he had gone through the Mayan healing, in quotes, I had only seen a smile in his eyes. Now, however, the look in his eyes was one of concern. I planted my feet and put my hand on one of the bulkheads to try and stop and get an idea of what was going on. This was a highly unusual activity on a Mayan vessel. I saw Mayans holding large stones that looked like huge axe heads. They were holding either side or edge of these devices and were using them as either a shield or a weapon. They cautiously entered into the room ahead of us. They looked very much as if they were engaged in battle. Gonzalez told me that there was no time to explain as he pulled me by my arm towards the doorway. He stated that they needed me to walk into the room and let myself be seen. He said, "This is all you have to do," in quotes. I was about to protest and demand more info when they shoved me right through the doorway. Reptilian being in a containment bubble. Wow. I found myself standing in the opening of a room similar to the ones in which I had previously received medical treatment. And David Wilcock says, the Mayan group specializes in providing healing to the survivors of the trauma from the secret space program and its darkest activities. And back to Corey. I saw about a dozen Mayans standing and pointing their weapons toward the other end of the room, where a being was floating inside a containment bubble about halfway between the floor and the ceiling. I immediately felt the emotions of the Mayans. They were extremely emotionally stressed. Prior to this, I had never felt anything but peace and love from them. I then noticed between 5 and 7 Mayans lying on the floor who were obviously dead. Their stone, axe head weapons were floating about 2 feet above the floor. I looked back to the being still floating on the other side of the room. It was a reptilian-type being with a bone structure that looked more like a human. It had what looked like olive green snake skin stretched across human-looking bones and had a slightly elongated head or skull. What you are seeing is an approximate image used in part from conventionally available sources to help illustrate what this scene looked like. And so they have a picture of a Mayan individual, this reptilian individual, and then a sort of military-looking person kind of in the shadows. Similar to the highest-ranking Draco. There was a weird mirage effect that didn't allow me to see his face or eyes very clearly, but I could see that his facial features also looked fairly human. I could see the slit pupils of his eyes opening and closing. This motion brought about rhythmic flashes of yellow and black with its pupils, reminiscent of what I witnessed within the eyes of the royal white Draco. And David Wilcock says, early in this saga, Corey met the commander of the Draco Empire, a 14-foot-tall white-colored being. It did very similar things with its eyes and had a terrifying hypnotic effect. This is back to Corey. This being was about 7 feet tall and had a very defined and wiry muscular structure. He was barefoot, clothed in a black one-piece suit and draped in a brown, blue, and gold shawl or cape. And that's going to be the end of part 3. And I will continue on with part 4.